Welcome to Connect to Love here on PRN FM. I'm Lisa LaRose, and I am joined by the incredible Michael J. Russ, and I'm so honored that you're joining us. Each week is a soulful journey into love, oneness, and, of course, the human spirit. We invite you to explore the depths of connection, self-discovery, and heart-centered living. I am absolutely so delighted because we have so many meaningful conversations, but something that we look forward to every month is being joined by Carol Collins for the Awakening series, and that's what we're gifted with today. So I want to just say welcome to you, Michael, and welcome, Carol. I'd like to welcome you both and see how you're doing today.
Thank you. Great to be here.
How am I doing? Life is good. Spring weather is lovely. I have just a nice, easy time with balancing work and relationships and friendships and personal time. Getting outdoors and doing some exercise outside feels really good. It's just a nice easing into spring and the nice weather. Feels good. How about you guys?
That it does. I love spring. The azaleas down here are going crazy. It's so beautiful. Yeah, big trees, bushes, everything is filled up with color. It is a special time of the year.
Yeah, same here. We've got cherry blossoms are approaching peak season. So this coming weekend is going to be in peak season. So picture-taking time here in D.C.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I've not been to D.C. for the cherry blossoms, but I was in Tokyo for the cherry blossoms, and it was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Same thing. It was.
Yeah, that would be even better.
It was fantastic. Yeah, no, it was really beautiful. It is amazing how the little flowers, they just bloom, and it just changes the energy. It really does. Everything, the little buds come out, the leaves start to green, and it creates this amazing ripple effect, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. And I just want to mention for any of our audience members who may be new to the Awakening series with Carol Collins and the teachers, I'd love to share with you just a brief bio. Carol is a very gifted channeler whose journey of awakening was nothing short of profound. Her awakening was spontaneous before she had a completely different life, and it started after she began to silently meditate, and soon her non-physical team worked through her using her face to spell words, and it wasn't long after that they asked her if they might speak through her, and she's been receiving personal guidance ever since. As a conduit for profound wisdom, she works with individuals and businesses internationally. She offers workshops, private sessions, energy attunements. She produces a monthly magazine called Synergy Wellness that's purely channeled material, and her and the teachers have channeled countless books that are absolutely amazing. I just wanted to mention that, Carol, first before we got into anything else. On the last episode that we did with you, the teacher shared with us a happy game, and I want to just say thank you because not only was it fun, it was really life-changing for me. It was so profound in that every time I had a thought that was the opposite of positive, I just went right back and finding things that were happy. And I made a conscious record. I went out and I bought a specific book, and every thought that was good or better or best and anything that made me happy, I wrote in there. And it's like that single drop of water that creates the ripple effect in the ocean. Every thought, every action that we have sends waves into the collective consciousness, and we're all interconnected. And so like those cherry blossoms on the trees, when they come, you're reminded that you're part of something bigger. And so I'd love for you to start from there, perhaps, if that's okay with you.
So let's start first. I'd like to announce March 20th, 2019. That was the day where I had been doing silent meditation every single day for the prescribed amount of minutes, and 9 months almost to the day, just after meditation, during meditation those last few months, my face was kind of swirling around during meditation. It was so soothing and so freeing. And it, too, there was a ripple effect happening. There was momentum, and that's what ripple effect is. And on that day, just after meditation, my face was moving all through meditation, and then it stopped, just as my alarm went off. And then it moved to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, a few times, and then in cursive, right in front of my face. It was kind of like my face or my nose. It was, my face was being used to communicate in personal guidance. And so I was receiving from day one personal guidance. They wrote a chapter of a book on that day, and it became the conversation was so interesting. I would think or I would talk out loud, and then my face would have this beautiful, very unique handwriting, and it was word by word by word. And then it was very shortly after that they asked me, could we speak out loud? And I understood what channeling was, but, I'm not deep in the spiritual community, and I never was. I was just a IT program manager. I'm not just, but, my life was completely, as you said, completely different. And so I understood that channeling was a method of mediumship where the words came out loud, and that was good because I understood that. And so I simply said yes, and they said, go ahead and say your name and just speak about yourself just a little bit. I never got my name out. I went to say my name, and they said, hello, we are James, and we are a collective of non-physical beings. And, and then they just poured information out for about 20 minutes. And then I had a blend of clairvoyant receiving, this beautiful face spelling, which is still nostalgic, and also channeled. And so it's my pleasure and delight to have them talk to everybody about the ripple effect and how it falls into Pillar 2 of their existential teaching. Pillar 2 is idea reconstruction, which essentially is law of attraction, why we create the things we create, and how do we get more of it, or how we turn a corner and get something different. So with that, we are right here. We are James to Speak. I'm Carol's guide, but there's also a number of teachers in the room alongside the guides of both of you all. And this is the perfect time to talk about the ripple effect. What is ripple effect? It's momentum of thought. And we like the idea of the drop of water, and the drop of water collects with another and another and another and another. You can't have a ripple effect unless you have some sizable body of water, whether it's a puddle, a bathtub, or an ocean. You have to have collective thought. And so there is collective consciousness, and that's in the non-physical space. And there is sharing of thought and ideas, fluid sharing of thought and ideas. But here in your physical plane, we say the dome, it's like a classroom for the unconscious part of you, for the soul within. It's a classroom. And so there is collective human thought. And that's what you're dealing with. That's the ripple effect. Now, collective consciousness is all conscious life, and we communicate fluidly. But here in the physical plane, you have collective human thought created by incarnated soul beings. And so what is it? It is hodgepodge of every thought that has ever been thought, as long as this physical experience has been here, and it's been far longer than human beings believe it to be, far longer. The world has been remade many times.
Yeah.
It has been shifted. It has been offered to the non-physical population, and then we use it, and then it goes dormant for a while, and then we use it, and it goes dormant. And so that has happened several times over. Mm-hmm. And so the collective human thought, it's one droplet at a time, but over eons of time, you have currents of thought. Now, current is emotionally based. And so you have the 5 premium emotions: confidence, interest, joy, happiness, and pride. And then you have their opposites. And their opposites come in many, many flavors. You have uninterested all the way down to fear. And you have the same expansiveness of the depletion. Those are the currents. The current. It's like the dog wags its tail, and the tail falls behind the dog. But the tail wags back and forth, and so thought is shared to the left and to the right of you. It's shared with all of those that are around you, but not just those that are around you. It stays in the air. It's the air current. It's in the air, so to speak. And so when you have the ripple effect, it is based on emotions. So what emotions are you using? And we love that you reflected upon the last conversation so eagerly. The happy effect. This feels like negative emotion. I like happy better. Happy feels like absolutely, absolutely. Happy feels like absolutely. And it does work. It does work. And writing it down reinforces to the unconscious mind what you are wanting it to flow with. what current do you want to find yourself in? And so just like you toss a pebble into a pond or an ocean, there is a ripple effect, but sooner or later you stop to notice the ripple because you notice something else. But the ripple is still there. The ripple of energy is still there, and it is gathering other droplets of thought to it, so the ripple gets thicker. And when you are in a very bad mood, you lean into the thickest part of that emotional current. It's a thought current, but it's emotionally charged. When you are in a slightly bad mood, you lean into the softer portion of that same current. And so we love botanicals, and we love people being outdoors so they can see the crocus and the daffodils and the blossoms of this and the blossoms of that showing up, because what your eyes do is they open wider and you notice them and you exclaim something. Oh, look how pretty that is. Oh, did you see that tree? Oh my goodness, did you see these blossoms? And it is joy rising, joy rising, joy rising, joy rising. What does that do? Well, it creates reminiscent thought that gets combined with here and now thought by billions of people, because the seasons are what the seasons are. And so you have people in this hemisphere that are all exclaiming the same kind of thing. So it becomes dominant thought. Not spring is here, but I am happy, all is well. I am happy, all is well. And that becomes consistent current within the airstream. And you have one in the northern hemisphere, and then you have it again in the southern hemisphere, and then those things circulate top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. So all year long, you have the opportunity to lean into, although the blossoms may not always be there, but you always have the opportunity to lean into the thickest portion of the well of joy. It is a current, and that's what a ripple is. You can see what the current is based on how the ripple flows. But the ripple is unending, and it's also magnetically charged emotionally. The emotions that human beings use, they are the charge to thought. And then your thoughts, as they are magnetized, they draw together. Like draws like. Opposites do not attract. Like draws like. And so you might think ripple effect is all positive things, and that's a good way to perceive it. But truly now, the ripple effect is both positive and negatively charged because you have emotions that run the gamut. And so doing an exercise like the one we talked about last month, it causes the unconscious mind of you, which is the soul within, to lean heavily into positive thought. And whether it's shallow or thick, in the long run it doesn't matter, because positive thought is positive thought and you will get more of it. Let's start there. What questions do you both have?
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It's quite
Michael?
interesting. Yeah, I was just thinking about the thoughts in the air. Joyrise. I love that term, by the way. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it. It's obviously so unique. Joyrise. Can you expound upon that a little bit further?
Joy rises to the surface, but so does hate, rage, and fury. It rises to the surface based on what the unconscious mind has found interesting. Why would it find negative emotion interesting? Because you might look down at your dirty shoes as you are tying them, and you are noticing that you are tying your shoes. But the unconscious mind notices everything, the fact that you're tying your shoes, but also that your shoes are scuffed. But it also looks around and it sees not only the blossoms, but it sees no leaves on the trees. And it does not become forlorn because it is not a person, but it simply says negative emotion created that, positive emotion created that. And so you have these winter months, and there is signs of unwellness everywhere. It comes in cycles. And so it's not easy enough for people to understand that spring comes after winter because healing has been done. And then the blossoms regain their joy. And then human population thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks about joy, and then they think about how summer is too hot. And then they think about holidays and Christmas and expenditures. And then the winter months come, because thought runs in cycles. If you do it unconsciously, if you think about cycle of life, and you think about cycle of thought, it is the cycle of life. You are excited to be here, and you live life, and you run the gamut with your emotions, and then life comes to a close. But yet it begins again in the non-physical place, but it also begins again with your newest life, your next life. And so when joy rises to the surface, hate, rage, and fury do not drop to the bottom. They simply go unnoticed. We like that very much. We like when the unconscious mind focuses on joy. We like when you notice the blossoms and the birds chirping and the warmer temperatures, if you like that. We like when you dress properly for the temperatures that are of that day, so that you are not too cold, not too hot. We like you to say to yourself, I always have perfect emotions. You will not have perfect emotions, but we like you to forecast it. It's like throwing a pebble out into the future so that it creates its own ripple effect. And so it's like a message in a bottle. Where does it land? Everywhere, on every shore, because it's in the water. The vibration is in the water. And so when you take a pebble, which is a thought, when you take a thought, then you say, I always have perfect emotions. Now, perfect is only positive emotions. There is no perfectness in negative emotions. And so when you have a thought, I always have perfect emotions, and you cast it into the future. If you think about now and you think about the past, then you're going to tell yourself that you are not telling the truth, and you will feel ashamed. And so you have to say it with timelessness. It is not what my life is. It is not my current reality. It is not reality in the ripple of the current of thought. It is a statement that I'm making, and I'm tossing it into the future in a timeless way, so that as I approach the minutes and the hours and the days and the months and the years and the decades of future time, I will come upon that thought, and I will have more perfect days and hours and months and years, etc. It's a seed planted in the future, but it's more like moss. Moss grows everywhere if you allow it to. If you allow it to. We want it to be a ripple effect of positivity that you focus on. But when you are in anger, when you are in disgusting, when you are in ew, when you are in lonely, sad, afraid, you are in the current of negative emotion, deeply or shallowly. And so the current is there, and you must acknowledge that it is there. And then you must adopt some kind of activity, some mental activity, some physical activity that keeps you reminded to be happy. And that's, blossoms can be that, grass can be that, warmer temperatures can be that. But what do you do in the depth of summer and the depth of winter when you don't have that newness? And it's newness. It is the ripple effect of, oh, look at that. I haven't seen that in a year. It's newness that comes about every spring, summer, fall, winter, because every season has its gloriousness. And so it's learning to exclaim surprise and delight at many different things. Oh, I haven't seen that car in so very long. Oh, I haven't passed that home. Oh, I haven't seen that friend on social media in so long. Oh, I haven't seen that color in the stores. Oh, I haven't seen. And then add happy to it, surprise and delight, surprise and delight. It is such a pleasure to have these conversations with you. You have to have awareness, presence of mind, to do what we talked about last month, which is notice when you are not. in the current of positive emotion, and then put yourself there. And you can do it. You can do it. And also recognize what is new that you enjoy and absorb it. But in these monthly conversations, we're here to dote on you. What else can we add to the conversation? What questions do you have?
Well, I'm just so blown away by this whole conversation, and it really, it's my whole body is truly vibrating. It's just singing, because it's such a powerful reminder to me that every aligned action, no matter how small it is, and even with that little book, is really making a difference. And I thank you, teachers, because when you said, what current do you want to find yourself in, there were so many thoughts that came into my mind. And I would love, if you wouldn't mind, how, because we had a brief conversation before the show, how sarcasm can cause challenges, and how when we experience those opposite of positive emotions and we want to bring ourselves back into surprise and delight, some of the ways that we can bring that vibration of love so that we can find ourselves in that current where we want to find ourselves and make it thicker and thicker and thicker. If you don't mind, I'd love your insights.
It's noticing what you are wanting to notice. When we say this, however, we are talking to the non-physical component of you, because that soul within, it is not your entire being. It is a portion of that being's intelligence that is being strengthened while you are in this incarnated state. That's what physical life is. And so we are speaking in the way of channeled so that you, the human beings, can hear the words. But at the same time, we send vibrational information directly to the unconscious mind, which is the soul within. But we are always talking to the soul within. Not that we disregard human life, but the soul within lives life first and robustly and manifests something to you. When your life completes and you review the entirety of what was created, it is not just the moments that your physical body witnessed. There is oodles and oodles and oodles of creation. So what the unconscious mind does is it draws energy into the grid. That's the memory catcher. That's the container of physical life. It draws energy of emotions and thoughts all the way into the grid. And then another component of your subconscious mind creates with it. But it doesn't have to create with it. It could use intuition. We like to throw that out there. But it does. It uses it almost primarily. And it does create, and sometimes create and manifest. Create, and sometimes create and manifest. You have all won the lottery. Millions of dollars are in the current of your creation. But not everyone has physically experienced the winning of the lottery, because not all of those creations have manifested. How do you make them manifest? You have to have intensity, which is strong desire in a short duration that rolls forward as continuous. So you have to have powerful, positive emotion or negative, because those are surfacing. So, of course, we want you to have positive. Positive emotion does grow over time, as does negative inside the grid. And so you manifest from the history books of your physical life in the grid slowly over time. You don't see the evidence of small things growing. You just notice one day, wow, that's new. I didn't used to do that. I didn't used to have this in my life. Or you say, wow, this is really fun day. And so you notice phases of discomfort and you notice moments of comfort. We want you to switch those. We want you to focus on, even if your life is in discomfort, we want you to notice the topics that have comfort in them, that are consistent. I do have consistency of comfort. I do have. And we want you to love all over those, because then the mind starts to learn to focus on positive emotion, on those subjects first, but then it extends positive emotion onto everything. And that's how you get yourself out of a rut. And so manifesting is manifesting and creating is creating. And the unconscious mind is always drawing energy to you based on your mood, and your mood fluctuates. But it's also always a constant conveyor belt of creations that are going into the grid, that are going into your life's history. And some of those creations are manifested. The ripple of life is more than you're aware of. But when you have presence of mind, that means that you are observant of what is going on in the here and now, but not so much that you become hyper-focused. When you have awareness of what is happening, and lightly having awareness on your emotions, but enough so that you can identify negative, and then stop. Well, that was a negative emotion. I like happy better. And then focus on something positive. But it's also reinforcement to the unconscious mind. Hey, you within, I like happy better. Manifest more happy. And so it, too, receives the ripple of consistency. It has to be a ripple, not a drop. And so it has to be droplet after droplet after droplet of thought that creates a well, which is where wellness comes from. Just make sure that it's droplets of positive thought, and then the well is healthy. But it will be a well nonetheless. And so make it a healthy well. And then the mind says, well, this is my pattern of behavior, and it begins to manifest more happiness to you. Now, how do you get the things that you're wanting happy and the topics that you're wanting? Because, you might want to win the lottery, and you do buy a ticket, because that's step number 2. Step number 1 is you got to want it. Step number 2 is buying it. But you might not win. You have to have joy in the moment that you buy it. And you have to have joy for the person who has won. Because ideas get combined. Lottery plus me plus winning. But me equals a human being. The most general sense of me comes first. And then more specifically, who you are specifically, whoever you are in this lifetime. And so I feel envy at someone winning the lottery. I feel envy at someone having won the lottery. Now, ... because it was not me, but someone equals a human being. I have envy that someone won the lottery. And what you're telling the unconscious mind is, number 1, activate confusion and lean into the negative emotion of it and the negative stream of it. But also in a more literal sense, to help everyone out, think about if you could write your thought down as a sentence, your reaction as a sentence. And let's say you bought a lottery ticket, you were feeling really happy when you did so, and it was around $400 million, and you were really hoping and excited, probably not anticipating, but excited that maybe, just maybe, it could happen. And then you find out that you did not win. What did you think? You don't know what you thought unless you had a word type of thought. But you have an emotion, depletion. Oh, darn. Disappointment. So disappointment is the basis of envy. And so you have to be, they picked the number today. Did you win? I didn't, but somebody did. Right. All right, and then you have to ... And I want that somebody to be me, inner mind. And I like having that winning ticket, inner mind. Because the mind uses generalities and then slowly into specifics, because me equals a human being. Me equals someone. And so if you have disappointment that someone won the lottery, well, by and by you'll stop paying attention to the lottery because it will be a topic that is not meaningful to you, and so you will never win it. And so it's a fascinating movement of the mind from positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, but it also does so consistently and only sometimes manifests. So you have to have your droplets of thought consistent in topic and in the emotional charge. And so if you have excitement about buying a lottery ticket, but disappointment that you did not win, then you have opposite magnetic emotional charges on the topic of the lottery and the topic of winning and the topic of receiving free money. Now, free money can be you find $5 on the floor of the car. Free money is free money. And so why do you, human population, why do you not find more money laying about? Because you worry about money. And so you've got lottery, and you've got winning, and you've got me winning, and you've got me receiving free money, me winning free money, me finding free money, me having extra money, me having prize money. How many prizes have you won in your lifetime? How many prizes? Now, you've received gifts, but how many prizes? Trophies is not a prize. How many prizes have you won? Well, not very many, because not very many of you do things that have a prize resulting. Carol won a cake one time in a cakewalk. It's actually a cakewalk and sit. And she was about 5. And she loved it. And so it's a memory of winning. We want you to love on memories of winning because, like we said, that ripple, that current of thought, it lasts for eternity. And so when you're feeling depleted and you have presence of mind to try to pick yourself up, think about something. At any point in your life, just think about something that came with joy. And then soak into the memory of it. But don't just soak into the memory of it, because then the mind will say, oh, I like to go backwards in my memory. And it will learn a habit of, I like to go backwards. Then you can't create a fun and fascinating future if the mind has learned a habit of going backwards. So you have to go backwards and think about a beautiful, positive, emotional, fun memory of any age and of any person, of any movie, of any lyrics. It does not matter. A memory is any human experience. And then when you feel like you have absorbed your maximum, then simply say, and I like manifesting that for me. I like having that as my manifestation. You have to complete the activity, because if you don't, the mind could learn a different habit. And you don't want that.
Wow.
Okay.
It's so powerful because it echoes to me. And when you said that about moving forward, I thought, well, waves don't go backwards. They only go forwards. They only roll. The tide, And so as you're speaking, I was feeling this joy. I'm envisioning these ripples becoming waves and this this change of positivity. And then my thoughts went to kindness and how when I even just looking at acts of kindness on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever the social media is, it just fills my heart with so much joy, and I can't wait to share it. And I think that as we do that, I love the fact that being happy for somebody else is such a beautiful thing to cultivate within ourselves. It is.
However, when you do it, complete the activity, because it is an opportunity to influence the unconscious mind of you to bring you the same kind of moment. But if you land in appreciation and then you move into thinking you're doing something else, you have a missed opportunity. And so when you see that moment of kindness or the moment of joy, whatever it is, I appreciate having that reminder, and I like that activity for me. I like manifesting that activity for me. I like, and let it be, wealth, because you are all happier human beings when you have money to spend, unencumbered. And so even there, you have to complete the thought. You have to expand the thought. I like money. I like money. Okay, that's good. Good start. I like kindness. I like friendship. That's good. And so you might see friends gathered, but yours do not have time for you, or you've become out of touch with them. And so I like having friends. I like having friends. I like having friends who are very similar to me in their likes and their temperament and their enthusiasm. And I like friends to do things with. And I like time to do things with friends. And I like friends to have time to do things with me. And so it's another page in the notebook of appreciation, because it's simply one thought is often not enough. And so your thought as well, we're going to pick on you just a little bit. Energy does not roll backwards, but it does roll in all directions. It rolls outward. And so you do have waves that land on the shore. But on the opposite shore, waves are also landing. And the shore above and the shore below, and the shore in all directions, because water simply shifts outward from the center, shifts outward, shifts outward. It's an epicenter, and the vibration of thought moves outward. And so kindness, if kindness in motion is truly in motion, and it is, then it is simply in motion, not forward. Now, we say this very specifically because when you think of it as in motion, outwards in all directions, then kindness can land on the past. And it's a form of healing the past. And we want you to have healed past. And so when you think about the direction of the wave, the direction of the ripple, it is outward, but not forward. We do want you to understand it does go forward, positive and negative. And so it goes to the future. It also goes to the past. And it goes to those on your left and those on your right, and those older than you and those younger than you and those not yet born, who are far younger than you. But the thought itself, if it is timeless, cascades in all directions. And so when you do that, my life is good. I love my life. My life is good. I love my life. My life is good. I love my life. I love my life. And when you do that without thought about your actual life and the length of it, and you just do it as a timeless thought, then it cascades in stronger all directions, and then lands on the thoughts that have been your life. And then positive ones get amplified and negative ones get softer. It's a cooling pot and also an amplifier. And so, yeah, it's the way you say things that seem like the perfect way to phrase it. But every once in a while, look at things from a broader perspective, because forward is forward and all directions is all directions. And all of you want yesterday's unhappy moments healed, and also all Fridays healed, right? Because you all love Fridays. And so why does Friday need healing? Because you're disappointed that you do not have more Fridays. And so even though you do not know it, you create hardship for you on Fridays. It's why you're stressed out. It's why you're anxious to leave work. It's why you want to get so many things done. It's why you want to have a plan on that day, because that's the day you love the most. But the mind says, I do not love Fridays the most. I love days of the week, period. And so in your joy, even though you do not know it, unconscious mind of every human being, we are talking to the unconscious mind, because when it listens to us and when it makes a concerted effort to apply what we are teaching, then your life gets better with no effort. Then your life gets better, because remember now, the unconscious mind lives first and manifests to you some of what it has done. There is delay in physical life because of that. It lives in a vibrational way, in a translucent, unphysical plane manifested way, and manifests something to the physical plane. You know, here, inside this dome classroom environment, you have non-physical plane and you have physical plane. The soul within lives in the non-physical plane, but is connected purely to your physical body. But your physical body is in the opposite plane, the physical plane. And so there are creations beyond your imagination in the non-physical plane, and only some of them shift across the threshold into your physical plane. And we want more things to shift into positivity manifested. And with that, we believe that we're almost out of time, are we not? We love you both so much. We love you, the conversation.
No, got about it's 42 minutes now, so we're doing pretty good. This is a fascinating
It's
conversation.
so
So many nuggets here of just treasure that, my gosh, just even that last, the last comment, teachers, about the unconscious mind lives first in a vibrational way. I mean, that just changes your whole perspective. It really, really does. If in understanding that, and
But do you? Just pause there. We love this. We love how we set you up to with 20 minutes to go. You see, it wasn't 2 minutes to go because there would be disappointment in that. Oh, we are almost out of time. Darn. And so, no, we're almost out of time, are we not? Oh, no, we have 20 minutes left. Oh, sure. And so that's the kind of thing to do. We want more meetings to be an hour. And people say, oh, are we almost done yet? No, we got 20 more minutes. Yay! But you don't do that in meetings, do you? But we do in this one, because this isn't a meeting, it's a conversation. It's just the way you phrase things, people. It's just the way you phrase things. And so when we phrase it as vibrational creating, the unconscious mind sees it as created, period. When things are manifested, it's a creation that is handed to the physical plane to experience. It's already created. It's created, but it's in the non-physical plane. That's why we say vibrational. We could just say in the non-physical plane. It is real. If your physical eyes could peer into the non-physical plane, you would see a different world. You would see a different body on you, perhaps. You would see love and joy and peace and love and joy and peace in so many places that you don't see it. You would also see the opposite, because that's why it's a domed environment. It's encapsulated and it's held here. And it does get cleaned out, yes it does. But of the negatives, of course. But it's simply this. They are real. And so when you say vibrational, when we said it first, but the unconscious mind understands the vibration of the energetic plane, the energy plane, where things are not solid, but yet they are real. And they can be solid, but they don't solidify in the way that an automobile is an automobile, and that automobile will never be a different automobile. In the energy plane, that automobile might be an automobile, but it might be Model T Ford, and then an airplane, because to the unconscious mind, mode of transportation is one subject. And so it uses energy to create and 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 create. And you all daydream. And when you daydream, you have some translucent awareness of that which is being created in the energy plane. But they are real. They are real. And they are real, because that's where your manifestations come from. And so if you win the lottery, you've won it twice. One in the energetic plane, the energy of it, and a second time in the physical plane where the human form gets to experience it. And so what you really have is a powerfully fun life in the energy plane. And the unconscious mind knows it. The unconscious mind is so satisfied. But you, the human being, you're not satisfied because not all of those powerfully formed things have been manifested. Something has to be created first before it can be manifested, and so it becomes real and then manifested to you. It's vibrational because it's a plane where your physical senses cannot go. And that's why we say vibrational, because the essence of that energy plane, the vibration pours over into this plane, but not the manifestation. That's why you want to tune into the current of positivity, so that what you do manifest are things that you're wanting, not the opposite.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Something to think about. You're welcome.
Very much. Very much. Thank you. That's spectacular. And very clear. Clearly communicated. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
For that.
What I love about having you on the show, having you the teachers on the show,
we love being here.
Yes,
we love being here.
Clear.
And we love adding positive energy into your Connect to Love podcast. And we love adding energy onto all radio shows. And we love adding positive energy into the internet. And we love adding newness to YouTube and being on there with Connect to Love. We do know about it. We do have energy in it. It's in all of these interviews. And we are amplifying it. Mm-hmm. And so if you were to take your hand, either hand, palm side, and place it over any YouTube site that is not pure channeled, any YouTube site, and put your hand over it, your hand will feel the vibration. Just simply don't identify it as positive or negative. Just identify, is it there or is it not? And if it's not, pause a moment and wait for it. And then take your hand off and then go to your Connect to Love podcast on YouTube and then put your hand on that page. And there will be a difference. We amplify it because we're on it. Not because we love it more, but because the energy of us is on it. And so remember that when you're carrying your mobile device around, there is teacher energy, non-physical being teacher energy in the internet, which means it's in your mobile device and it's in your television because, well, there's channeled episodes on there as well. And so you have it, unconscious mind of every listener, and also the three of you. You have non-physical purity at your disposal everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. And so even when you are in the thick of it, the unconscious mind doesn't have to pay attention to it because it has to find interest, and then it draws the energy of it. And so you could be in a terribly bad mood, but the unconscious mind might be looking at the cherry blossoms because you have paved the way by way of your human intellect and your agreement that positive thought is important. Well, that is reinforcement that goes to the aspects. And then you might, because remember now, what gets drawn to you and what gets manifested to you, they are two different components of the subconscious mind. And so while you might be manifesting a terrible migraine, well, that's old news to the unconscious mind because manifestations come from the grid where all your human life is. But at the same time, a different component of your non-physical mind is drawing new energy. And so teach it a habit, teach it a habit, teach it a habit, teach it a habit. So when you are in a bad mood, in traffic, with that migraine, whatever it is, you might be experiencing that manifestation. But the component that's drawing new energy is drawing based on the habit that you have requested. It will also draw a little bit of the It will notice. It's the difference between noticing and having interest in. You might notice a billboard that you don't like, but you aren't interested in observing it and thinking about it and talking about it. You just notice it. It's the same kind of thing. And so it's like that. The unconscious mind, we want it to be interested in non-physical teacher energy in the Internet. So as you're perusing and getting frustrated or perusing and getting indecision, it's a manifested moment, true. But at the exact same time, you're drawing energy of a different kind. If and only if you have done the work long enough and consistent enough that a habit has been formed. Good pendulum use can help you identify whether or not that is you or if you need more work on it. And then you just feed the meter. You have to, once you create that positive habit, you will have manifestations, because manifesting comes either from intuition, those are some of the good things that you get, or from the grid, which is your complete and full memory of creations, and also complete and full memory of your manifestations. It's all of it. And so the unconscious mind simply knows that life is life. Life is life is life. But it draws energy and it manifests. And your manifestations, good and bad, are coming from the container of the grid, which is where your life story is stored. It's coming from that which has already been. And with it comes the opportunity to draw more energy like it. And on all positive things, you want that. But you also, by way of personal influence, you have the opportunity to teach it to draw the opposite. Mm. But that takes effort, and it takes consistency, and it takes presence of mind, which is why we talked about what we did last month. It is a habit that can be formed, but it's not automatic, and it does take effort, and it takes time, and it takes consistency. But when that habit is there, then the part of you that draws energy only superficially notices what you are manifesting, what has been manifested, and it takes note of it. But it uses the habit that you have asked of it, if you have done the work to get it. And then you simply reinforce it. And so it's efforting for a while. How long? It depends on who you are. And it depends on what topic and how much negativity you have on that topic. And that's how the mind works. But once the habit is there, then you simply need to encourage it. So spend the time. It's the upfront time. The upfront time is important. And there's never a bad time to start. Never a bad time to start.
No, it's so wonderful. And I am going to be practicing surprise and delight in everything. I mean, I have a new task, and I'm so excited because so much, and thank you, teachers, and thank you, Carol, because you always remind us that embodying love and connecting, and now we have this beautiful teachings of allowing joy to rise, and so many different wisdoms that you bring forth. It is just always amazing and such a delight. And I know everybody who is tuning in is going to want more. And so I just want to give your website, because there are so many incredible resources. There's a new Our Knowing, which is a 2-hour workshop coming up. I believe the next one is in April 7th, and it's pure channeling. And the teachers will amaze you, absolutely. If you've been without words for what you've experienced and what you've listened to today, the monthly Our Knowings are an amazing gift to participate in, as are the monthly classes. There is one on every Monday. And there's wonderful books and teachings that are of the essential material, as well as the Synergy magazine, which it's a purely channeled magazine. And just recently, James and the teachers have been channeling poetry, which is absolutely spectacular. So Carol, I'd love for you just to share a little bit before we sign off about how people can get in touch with you and the readings, as well as anything else you'd like to share.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for that opportunity. So it's channelingtheteachers.com, and the website has everything that you need to know. But very briefly, there are 3 regularly scheduled new and different workshops every month, but they fall into 3 categories. One is Enlightened, and it is a 4-part workshop held every Monday. So each week of the 4-part is different, and each Enlightened workshop is new and different each month, but every month has a 4-part. I hope that makes sense. So there's an Enlightened 4-part unique workshop every month held on Monday night. There is 1 2-hour Q&A with the teachers, and it's really no lecture-based teaching. It is question from the participants, and we get as many of those in as we can in that 2-hour time frame. And then also once a month is Resonance, and it's 1 Saturday a month, and it's 4 hours of healing topics and healing. They do physical healing, emotional healing, thought-based healing. There is a little bit of teaching, but mainly diving right in and getting, and what's really, really fun with that is people do on camera in a group situation. They have a problem, physical problem. Last month there was someone that had some really difficult neck and shoulder pain and was sitting quite uncomfortably during the workshop. And when the teachers called on her, she asked for some healing because it was painful. And within less than 10 minutes, she was stretching her arm and reaching backwards, and she says, "Oh my goodness, I can move. This is amazing. I can't believe how, wow." I mean, she was so wowed. It was just, I love that. And so there are 3 regularly scheduled. There is private appointments. That too is on the website. I do them Monday through Friday and occasionally on the weekends. And then there are the subscriptions. And so there's 3, one for the Wellness Magazine, Synergistic Wellness. It is the teachers cover to cover, and it's a beautiful coming together of artwork, graphics, guidance, and channeled conversation. And that comes out once a month. That's a subscription that you can get if you would like it. Just join that. That's $10 a month. And then there is Enlightened, so that you can come every month to the 4-part workshop. And then there's Mastery. And Mastery is full and open access to every regularly scheduled workshop every month. It's 12 to 15 hours of interaction with the teachers for $129. Not very much, but it sure does have a ripple effect on everybody. It's a lot of fun. The Antarctic cruise is scheduled for first part of February of next year, and that takes us into the Arctic Peninsula, where there is 0 negative emotion, and the teachers will be doing a workshop and also private attunement, energy work. While we're in that area, the mind really absorbs it and soaks it in. So please do start booking your cabins, because some of them will be selling out before summertime, and I want to make sure everybody gets their favorite choice. And
wow.
What else?
Fantastic.
What else? Just fun. There's a couple of other things that are coming up. The teachers are talking about going to Galapagos in 2026 or 2027, and then of course doing Bimini to get us in the vortex of life, the vortex of positive emotion, and then hopefully within not too distant of scheduling time frame, we're going to start getting some in-person workshops on land as well as out at sea. So, a bunch of stuff going on. But channelingtheteachers.com, and you'll have everything you need from the website.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been an amazing time. Much appreciate you, teachers. Thank you so much. And Carol, very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Absolutely.
And they too are aware of your sentiments, so they just say back at you. They love this.
Yeah.
They love every
so
opportunity.
Joyful. Thank you.
Love this.
Yeah. It is joyful.
Yeah.
And let that be a ripple effect for the rest of your day. Everybody, all the listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Sending you love.